Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review as well as a mini tutorial that I like to do nowadays with my eyeshadow palette reviews of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Instant Eye Palette, which is her brand new and latest release in terms of from the Pillow Talk range. Now Pillow Talk, for those people who aren't aware, is one of the most popular shades by Charlotte Tilbury. It's like a nude pink. This is what the packaging looks like. It just comes with this pale pink packaging. Charlotte Tilbury's packaging is very old Hollywood. She's got a lot of freestanding stores in the UK and is probably one of the biggest and most popular and most luxurious makeup brands to come from the UK. This is what the palette looks like. It's very standard classic Charlotte Tilbury, which has got like this kind of fan design on the front. And then when you open it up, this is what the inside looks like. It's got this plastic insert over the top, which is supposed to kind of help you in terms of applying your eyeshadow. I will explain that in a minute. I'm just going to remove it. As you can see, it's split into 4 sections, with each one saying 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, I will explain them in a minute. Let me just remove that so that you guys can see what the actual eyeshadow palette itself looks like. Altogether there are 12 eyeshadows, and then there is a very nice and easy to use mirror in the middle. So Charlotte Tilbury's eyeshadow palettes and makeup in general is definitely on the much more pricier range. Her eyeshadow palettes, which are of this size, cost £60, which is very, very pricey. And this is not the only one of hers that has cost £60. I've got another one which I bought last year, which I just happened to have brought into this video with me just to show you guys. This was the Stars in Your Eyes palette, which was released towards the end of 2018 for their holiday range, and it looks like this. So I didn't get the 2019 one because there were shades in there that I generally don't tend to use a lot, like greens and blues. I definitely tend to gravitate more towards kind of warm tone shades. So I just wanted to show these to you kind of side by side, just so that you could see a comparison between the two. If you can see closely enough, there are quite a few similarities between the two palettes. Now, I know it's not just my eyes thinking that. I can't definitely refer to shade names because they don't have names. They're, again, split into sections of 3s. I don't know why I didn't do a review of this. I think because it was limited edition, by the time I actually came down to it, I didn't have time and it wasn't in stock anymore. This one, in my head, I gave a 10 out of 10. It's probably one of the best palettes that I bought that year, and the quality was absolutely excellent, which is why when it came to buying this one, I kind of blindly bought it without actually going in store, which I could have done because there is a Charlotte Tilbury store near my house, but I instead ordered it online. Also because it was the first time I was ordering direct from her website, I got 10% off. And for a £60 eyeshadow palette, 10% goes a really long way. Do you know what I mean? So now again, going back to the whole Pillow Talk range, because I've actually got other Pillow Talk items to show you guys as well, but I'm going to actually do a separate video because I'm wearing the Pillow Talk medium lipstick right now on my lips, and I'm wearing the new Intense blush as well, but I want to talk about that separately. According to her website, I'm just going to read what her website description says. Pillow Talk around the clock for everyone, everywhere. By the way, her marketing jargon is really cheesy, so bear with me. No, I have to say it like a proper Brit. Darling, darling, darlings, adorn your eyes in Pillow Talk magic with my dreamy 12-shade instant eye palette. I actually don't know how Charlotte even talks, but I can guarantee you anything, she don't talk like a Londoner like I do. Let me just get back to the way I normally talk, right? Inspired by Charlotte's best-selling, globally adored nude pink shade that's on everyone's lips, this limited edition eyeshadow palette features 4 eye glow looks that can be dialed up or down for every occasion, from day to desk to date and beyond. Quote marks, I know how much you love Pillow Talk, and now I'm giving you 4 Pillow Talk eye glow looks in one palette. Close quote, Charlotte Tilbury. From the shimmering rose gold, peachy caramel and dreamy champagne pink eyeshadow shades of the day and desk looks, to the soft tawny brown, shimmering rose pink and blushed berry rose of the day and dream looks, create a Pillow Talk gaze that takes you anywhere. Now, in that little description there, did any of that say anything about the famous Pillow Talk shade, which is a nude pink? No, because ain't none of these shades in here a nude pink. One kind of maybe passes of like a nudie pinky mauve, but there ain't no nude pinks in the nude pink eyeshadow palette. What makes it magic? 12 magical shades from the dreamy world of Pillow Talk in a mix of super soft, intense matte and metallic pearl finishes. Diamond powder infuses a jewel-like light and clarity to your eyes, creating a luminous, natural-looking glow. The magical matte shadows contain coated pigments with silicones for a silky, luxurious touch and emollient oils for optimized spreadability. Very fancy words. Metallic pearl shades contain coated pigments for a soft, cushiony feel and emollient esters for comfortable to wear glam. So that is the description, which was very, very fancy. Now, what are my thoughts of the eyeshadow palette? Well, I think you're kind of already gathering what I have to say about it. There's no nude pink, bruv. There is no nude pink. Just this kind of nudie pink, which is actually shows up mauve on me, not nudie pink. There is no nude pink in the iconic Pillow Talk shade of nude pink. Not even one. Not even close. I don't understand. The iconic eyeshadow palette. And considering that this Pillow Talk eyeshadow palette is the largest of the Pillow Talk range, there are other Pillow Talk eyeshadow palettes, but I actually was hoping that the big daddy one, the biggest one, the newest one, would actually have those iconic shades in here. There are none. This palette, don't get me wrong, has got a great amount of everyday wearable shades which will work well on all skin tones. The mattes are incredibly pigmented, very, very pigmented, very easy to blend. They are excellent quality. Some of the best mattes I have ever come across. They kick up a little bit of powder, but not so much, for example, like Anastasia Beverly Hills, where you are likely to hit pan very, very soon. With this one, it won't happen. All you have to do is tap your brush very lightly into the palette. A lot of product comes off and you get minimal fallout as well. The way that it applies, swish, 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 blended, done, perfect. The quality of the matte shades are absolutely excellent. The way that they actually show up in the pan is not necessarily how it shows up on my medium skin tone. For reference, in Charlotte Tilbury's foundation, the airbrush one, I used the shade number 7 Warm. And that's actually what I happen to be wearing on my face right now. And the way that I have to say it is that a lot of the colours are really samey. I've worn this 2 days in a row. I've used every single shade and both looks look kind of similar. I'm going to post here the makeup look that I wore yesterday so you can kind of compare it to what I've got on my eyes today. Very similar, very, very samey. There's lots of browns and peaches and caramels, and they're all very similar but slightly different, meaning you can't really go wrong with the kind of looks that you come up with. Every day is going to be a very similar look. There's no drastic different looks. Now, if I was to take this palette on the other hand, what I liked about this was that the colours were quite drastically different. Not just that, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 metallic shades and 5 matte shades, meaning that you could have so many different types of looks going on because the metallic shades were so drastically different, and there's quite a lot of them as well. Now in this palette, unfortunately, there are 4 metallic shades. 2 of them are berry shades and they are very, very similar, very samey. Then you've got a peachy gold and then a light pinky kind of rose colour. That's it. Then you've got matte. All mattes. Can't really do so much with your lid when it comes to the kind of shades that are in here, unfortunately. There isn't even a really obvious brow bone shade. I've been using this first shade as a brow bone shade and a tear duct shade, but that's it. I have no other options. There is one very deep shade, this dark brown here, but the rest are all very, very samey colours. So all the looks, especially when you start to layer them the way that I do with my eyes, they're all going to eventually merge together to create the same shade. It would have helped if there had been a few more pinks, variations of pinks, nude pinks, those sort of things going in hand with the name Pillow Talk or what the brand and name of Pillow Talk is supposed to represent. But they didn't go down that route. Weird. Now, another thing I have to mention is this thing here, which I said to you guys, which has got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, every number represents something. 1 represents prime, 2 represents enhance, 3 represents smoke. Now, she did that with the previous palette as well. Prime, enhance, smoke. Ignore it. Okay, I don't even know why they've decided to do that on here. If anything, I find that it makes things so much more confusing. Now, if I look on the box, what it does is explains what the 1, 2, 3 means. Now, it says easy to follow, prime, enhance, and smoke. Shades for each look. First, use the prime shade to prep the eyelid. Okay, so if we were to go with this eyeshadow palette here, and we go with the first section, because like I said, they're broken up into 4 sections. This one is called Day, Desk, Date, and Dream. All right, so let's go with their prime, right? Prime is supposed to do what? It's supposed to prep your eyelids. So apparently you're meant to prime with a peachy gold. Does that make sense to anybody? How is that going to prime your lid? Okay, fine. Then blend the enhanced shade across the lid. So once I've primed it with a shimmery peach, I've then got to go in with a second shade, which is a shimmery rose, and enhance the primer. I don't understand. So I'm basically mixing 2 shimmery shades together. Okay, and then finish with the smoke shade, blending into the crease line and under the eye. This shade here is very, very pale. Okay, it's the pale mauvey pink shade that I've mentioned to you. That cannot smoke out anything. It will blend, but it won't smoke out anything. It will not create any kind of depth or dimension and not give you a smoky eye. So this is literally useless. I wish they'd stop doing it. It's pointless. It doesn't help anybody. Just do what I do and use whatever shades you want together. The metallic shades, I would say, are not as good as the matte shades. The metallic shades are shimmery, but quite subtle shimmery. They're not intense like Anastasia Beverly Hills, which are full on glam metallic shine. You do not get that with these. These are very, very subtle, very everyday kind of wear, and does not stand out as much as something else would. Now, if I was to go back to this palette, complete opposite. The metallic shades were bright. They were intense colors. You had a bright peach, a bright yellow gold, a bronzy shade, a bright pink. You can actually see the shimmer on here as well, whereas you don't see the shimmer so much in this palette. So whereas I gave this palette in my head a 10 out of 10, I would probably give this a 9 out of 10 because the metallics just do not perform as well as they did in the other palette. This one I have to layer up my brush very heavily in order for it to come out on my eyelid. Otherwise it's way too sheer and it just does not show up at all on my medium skin tone. And let's be honest, I do not have deep skin. I'm not even close to having deep skin. So if I struggle with those metallic shades, I can only imagine what it would be like for somebody else who's maybe got slightly deeper skin tone than me. Definitely you can use this for a lot of daytime looks. I wouldn't really say that you can use it that much for nighttime. You would have to use these 2 deep brown shades quite a bit in order for you to have smoked out nighttime looks. This is very daytime appropriate. This is very office appropriate. This is also a kind of palette that you could use for bridal makeup, but I would definitely say more British English brides, not really South Asian brides, because you know this just is not intense enough for us. This is great for maybe spring, summer months as well. Not really something that I would expect to use for the winter as much. Don't get me wrong, this is something that I can use for everyday very, very quick looks. I'm just not as impressed as I wanted to be because I think that I'm more let down by the shades more than anything else. I just don't think that they all work so well together. These 3 on the end are so similar. What's the point? And I mean, even these, if you look, okay, so there's a caramel brown, a slightly deeper brown, and a slightly deeper brown. Then you've got like a beigey sort of color, then you've got an orangey color, then you've got an orangey brown. I mean, samey, samey, same. It's just the depth of color which changes. That's all. Don't get me wrong, there will be loads of you that really, really like this, the way that it looks, the way that it performs, fair enough. I'm just giving my point of view and the way that I feel personally slightly let down by it, and that's more so because there aren't enough metallic shades in here, and the matte shades are all very similar. Like really similar. Every day, no matter which way that I use the shades, I'm always going to come out with a very samey kind of look. And with 12 shades, how can I be coming out with the same look every day? Don't really make sense, right? Alright, what I'm going to do now is, oh dear, I'm wearing white, aren't I? Alright, let me unbutton this. I am going to swatch these all on my arms for you guys so that you can see what it looks like against my medium tone skin. Bear in mind that finger swatches are very different to brush swatches, and with a brush swatch everything is a little bit more sheared out, so you'll be seeing a much more concentrated version against my skin tone. All right, so let's start off with this section here, which is the Day palette, if that's what you want to call it, and this first shade over here. So this shade here is a warm toned gold with a hint, it's like a peach gold. That's how it shows on my skin tone. It's got a metallic finish, Very soft and buttery to the touch and easy to blend. Then this is the next shade here. This is another metallic shade and it's like a coppery rose shade. Again, very buttery, creamy and opaque and easy to blend. And this is the final shade of the Day Trio. This is a matte shade. It's a warm toned, darkish kind of corally pinky mauve. It's like a mixture of the three. Depends what your skin tone is as to how it will show up. Right, now we're moving on to the Desk Trio and this first one here. So this first shade is matte and it's a very light toned, pale orangey caramel sort of shade. This is the second shade. This is another matte shade and it's a warm toned, deep peach shade. Absolutely gorgeous, easy to blend and super pigmented. Then this is the final shade of the Desk Trio. This is another beautiful matte shade. It's a very dark coral shade almost. It looks amazing. These three shades look amazing layered one on top of another to create a really stunning kind of warm toned orangey sort of look. But obviously not nude pink. Then this is the Date Trio and this is the first shade. This one is a classic everyday shade that everyone will love. It is a matte, warm-toned caramel brown. It's absolutely gorgeous and again, easy to blend. Then this is the second shade in the Date Trio. This is another beautiful, matte, warm-toned, deeper brown shade. Slightly deeper and a little bit more warmer than the previous one, but gorgeous nevertheless. And then this is the final shade of the Date Trio. And this is a beautiful, matte, deep brown shade. Again, gorgeous on the eyes, easy to blend, is not patchy. One thing you will notice, look at the swatches, though, how clean they are. Not a single bit of patchiness inside, and my arms have no sort of primer or anything on them at all. That is why they're absolutely stunning. Now moving on to the last part of this palette, the Dream Trio, and this first shade here. Stunning metallic shade. It's like a raspberry kind of colour. Really metallic, but as you can see when I mentioned that they are not as metallic-y as I would like. A thick swatch is all good and well, but when you apply it to the brush it definitely shears out a bit and you have to layer them quite a lot for them to show up. Then this is the second shade of the Dream Trio. This is another metallic shade and a tiny bit deeper than the previous one. This is definitely more of a raspberry toned shade, but as you can see they're very similar. What was the point? You know, you could have made this one maybe a little bit lighter or maybe that one a bit darker, but they're very, very similar. And then this is the final shade of the palette and of the Dream Trio. Now this is the final shade right here, which is matte, and I was actually surprised by this one because this is the kind of shade that generally tends to stain the eyes, comes out patchy, because this kind of red cranberry sort of colour is very, very difficult to blend in particular, but I found it a dream to blend. I was genuinely really impressed by this shade and the matte shades in general. Right, so the swatches are done, and what do you guys think? Are you gonna get it? Are you not? £60 is a lot of money for an eyeshadow palette that you've probably got every single one of these shades in so many other palettes, let's be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, the mattes are excellent, great quality palette. 9 out of 10 is still a very, very good mark. However, do I see this as a must-have? On that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Hope you guys are wonderful and great. Let me know what your thoughts are about this palette because it is very, very new. Like, comment, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.